Hello children, how are you? I hope you all are studying well. So children, how do we get our knowledge? Yes, we do get them through books. But on a day-to-day basis also, if we want to know in general what is happening around, there are different sources. There are different media ways by which we can get the knowledge. Okay, out of that, there is one way which is very common and in every day and everybody's household, you will see this. Those are newspapers. So let's talk about newspapers in this chapter. Newspaper is an essential part of our life. They are one of the initial communication tools of the society that help us to stay connected with the world and live an ignorance-free life. They also play a large part in keeping us aware of the national and international events taking place around us. So through newspaper, we come to know about so many different things. What's happening, what has happened, what is going to happen. All these news are in one place through newspaper. Alright, so let's look at the history of newspapers first. The Roman Eta Diurna, appearing around 39 BC, is the earliest recorded newspaper. Julius Caesar, in order to inform the public about important social and political happenings, ordered upcoming events to be posted in major cities. These were written on large whiteboards and displayed at popular places. The Chinese published pamphlets. And later, with technology developing in Europe, many nations started printing their own newspapers. Between 1890 to 1920, the period known as the Golden Age of print media, media barons such as William Randolph Hearst, Joseph Pulitzer, and Lord Northcliffe built publishing empires. So that's the history of newspaper. Right from the olden time, right from Julius Caesar's time, okay, she used to inform the public about important and social political happenings, okay, and then also about the upcoming events. Okay, it started as a newspaper. Then there were pamphlets which were being used. Now, so at that time, there were whiteboards used. Then came the pamphlets, and this is how slowly and gradually newspapers started getting printed. Okay, now let's look at colors of newspapers. Newspapers were usually printed on cheap, off-white paper known as newsprint. Since 1980s, the newspaper industry has largely moved to higher quality for color process offset printing. Okay, it is of a higher quality. Financial Times is printed on a distinctive salmon pink color. Now, there are different types of newspapers. Daily. A daily newspaper is issued every day, sometimes with the exception of some national holidays. Weekly newspapers are common and tend to be smaller than daily newspapers. Okay, there are some newspapers that are published twice or 3 times a week. Then you have the national. Most nations have at least one newspaper that circulates throughout the country. Okay, like in our country, we have different. Okay, we also have based on the regions, right? We have in the different languages also. So, now most nations have at least one newspaper that circulates throughout the country, a national newspaper in contrast to a local newspaper serving the whole city or region. International. Some newspapers such as the International Herald and the Tribune contain news of international focus. And now with modernization, okay, we have online newspapers. Okay, virtually all printed newspapers have online editions. So especially when we came across this time of COVID, okay, people were scared to get newspapers at home. So that's how slowly and gradually everybody started moving from the paper copies to online. At the same time, so many people are busy that they are not having time to sit and actually read the newspaper. So they just scroll the news on their phones or any other tablet or computer itself. Alright, now the sizes of newspaper. The broadsheets, they usually come in 600 mm by 380 mm, which is 23.5 by 15 inches size, and generally cater to more serious readers. These are also known as compact newspapers. Tabloids. Now, these are half the size of broadsheets at 380 mm by 300 mm, that is 15 to 11 and 3/4 inches, and are often perceived as sensationalist in contrast to broadsheets. Example is the Sun, the National Enquirer, New York Post and all. Alright, now let's talk about circulation and readership. The number of copies distributed is called the newspaper circulation, okay, and is one of the principal factors used to set advertising rates. Based on the rate that they come of the newspaper, they also determine the rate of advertisements in the newspaper. Readership figures may be higher than circulation figures because many copies are read by more than one person. Germany's Bild, with a circulation of 3.8 million, is the highest selling newspaper in Europe. In the United Kingdom, the Sun is the top seller with around 2.98 million copies distributed daily. In the US, the Wall Street Journal has a daily circulation of approximately 2.01 million, making it the most widely distributed paper in the country. Likewise, in India, the Times of India has the largest circulation in Bharat with a readership of 7.643 million. Okay, now let's solve this exercise based on newspapers. A. Take the correct option. Which among these has the highest circulation in Bharat? A. The Times of India, B. The Hindu, or C. The Dainik Jagran? And the answer is, it's C. The Dainik Jagran. Okay, because it is in Hindi language. Alright, now, which of the following is not an international newspaper? A. Tribune, B. The International Herald, or C. Jansatta? And the answer is C. Jansatta. Which is a tabloid? A. The Hindu, B. The Times of India, or C. New York Post? And the answer is, it is C. The New York Post. Okay, now, which among these is a newspaper, weekly newspaper of Bharat? Jagat Darpan, Dainik Bhaskar, or the Times of India? And the answer is, it is Jagat Darpan. Which of these is a Urdu language daily newspaper? Amar Ujala, Siyasat, or Haribhumi? And the answer is, it is B. Siyasat. Okay. Now, match the given list of newspaper with the countries in which they are published. Okay. The first one, Times of India. Okay. It is published in Bharat. Second, the Daily Mail. It is published in E, the UK. 3. People's Daily. It's published at China. Le Monde. Le Monde is published in France. The Moscow Times, as the name suggests, it is published in Russia. Okay. El Mundo. El Mundo is published in Spain. Then comes the Expression, which is published in J, Sweden. Followed by 8, L'Essor. It is published in Belgium. 9th is Asahi Shimbun, which is published at L, Japan. Okay. Then you have 10th one, which is Die Welt. It is published at O, Germany. Followed by 11, Al Gomhuria, which is at C, Egypt. Then you have the New York Times, which is published at N, the United States of America, the USA. 13, La Repubblica. It is at Italy. 14 is Herald Sun, which is published at P, Australia. 15th is the Toronto Star, which is at what is it? Canada. Okay. Then is the Zaman, which is at Turkey. Okay. So now children, let's look at an amazing fact. The first English newspaper in Mumbai was printed by Rustamji Kesaspathi in 1777. Okay, and do you know the Newspaper Association of America is a trade association representing approximately 2,000 newspapers in the United States and Canada. That's a huge achievement, and that's how people are connected to each other through newspapers. So, do share the important information and do put in a habit, inculcate the habit of reading newspaper every day. You can enhance your knowledge, okay, and have a good information about current affairs also through newspapers. So, get going, children.